I am Leonardo da Vinci. I was born on April 15, 1452, in a small village in Italy. My name comes from the place where I was born, Leonardo from Vinci, or simply da Vinci. My story did not begin in the ordinary way. I was an illegitimate child, son of a notary and a peasant woman. Many would call this a misfortune. But throughout my life, I realized it was a gift. Had I been legitimate, I would have been forced to follow in my father's footsteps and spend my days as a notary, free to choose my own path. And I chose it within nature itself. As a child, everything around me seemed like a mystery. The blueness of the sky, the beating of a bird's wings, the flow of a stream. My questions never ended. Why is the sky blue? Why are fish swifter in water than birds in air? What does the tongue of a woodpecker look like? People often looked at me strangely. But I was made to find the answers. My school was the fields, forests, and riverbanks. My teacher was curiosity itself. And my father noticed my talent. He saw that the little drawings I made were not those of an ordinary boy. When I was 12, he took me to Florence. And in that moment, my destiny changed. Florence, the heart of the Renaissance. A city alive with art, science, and thought. There, I entered the workshop of Andrea del Verrocchio. That workshop opened a whole new world to me. Painting, sculpture, engineering, music. And I tried to learn them all. One day, Verrocchio was commissioned to paint the baptism of Christ. As one of his apprentices, I was asked to paint a small part of the work, an angel. The angel I painted was said to be so vivid and lifelike that my master laid down his brush forever. That was the moment I realized art is not merely a craft, but the manifestation of the soul. While working in Florence, I met the city's most powerful family, the Medicis. The Medicis. Lorenzo de' Medici was the greatest patron of the arts. Under his protection, I lived among giants, Botticelli, Michelangelo, and others. Without the Medici, the Renaissance might never have shone so brightly. But my path stretched beyond Florence. Lorenzo introduced me to Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan. And when I went to him, I carried with me what may be the world's first résumé. In that letter, I did not even call myself a painter. Instead, I wrote, I can build bridges. I can design machines of war. I can strengthen your fortresses. If you wish, I can unite engineering with art. For I never saw myself as only an artist. The 17 years I spent in Milan were among the most productive of my life. The 17 years I spent in Milan were among the most productive of my life. One of my greatest creations was the Last Supper. On the wall of Santa Maria delle Grazie, I painted not just a biblical scene, but the very drama of the human soul. The moment when Christ said, "One of you will betray me." On the apostles' faces, I showed shock, rage, fear, denial. Each one a different expression, a different story. At the center sat Christ, serene amid the storm. To me, this was more than art. It was a portrait of the human spirit itself. But I must admit, I left many works unfinished. My mind was always racing toward the next idea, the next question. My true legacy is my notebooks. More than 6,000 pages survive, though many more have been lost. In them are studies of anatomy, cross-sections of skulls, chambers of the heart, the arrangement of muscles. To learn these things, I dissected more than 30 bodies, often in secret at night. for the church forbade such work. But I could not resist my curiosity. And then there is the Vitruvian Man, a drawing that reveals the perfect proportions of the human body. Arms and legs spread to fit both a circle and a square. This was not only a sketch, but my philosophy. The laws of the universe are reflected within the human form. Above all, I dreamed of flight. I studied birds for hours, filling pages with the patterns of their wings. I drew flying machines, the aerial screw, a design like a modern helicopter, parachutes, gliders. None of them ever took to the skies in my lifetime. But today, every machine that flies owes something to those dreams. After Milan, I returned to Florence. There I began the most famous painting of my life, Mona Lisa. At first, merely the portrait of a merchant's wife, Lisa Gherardini. But it grew into something greater. In her face, I sought the essence of the human soul. That smile, neither laughter nor sorrow, but something in between, changing with the viewer's gaze. Yet the Mona Lisa is not only a portrait. With the technique I called sfumato, I blurred the lines into soft transitions, like smoke dissolving in air. Beneath that smile lies the knowledge of muscles and nerves I had studied for years. And her eyes, wherever you stand, they seem to follow you. That is not chance. It is the fruit of my studies of optics and perspective. The Mona Lisa is the marriage of science and art. That is not chance. It is the fruit of my studies of optics and perspective. The Mona Lisa is the marriage of science and art. In 1516, King Francis I of France invited me to his court. He gave me a house near the Château d'Amboise. There I lived with my faithful student Francesco Melzi. By then my hands trembled, and I could no longer work as I once had. But my mind still burned with curiosity. I returned to my notebooks, refining sketches, reviewing unfinished ideas. On May 2, 1519, I left this world at the age of 67. Some say King Francis was at my side as I died. It was in my final breath I felt regret. I whispered that I had offended God and mankind, for I had not done enough. My curiosity had led me to endless paths, yet my life was too short to complete them all. I am Leonardo, painter, engineer, inventor, anatomist, musician, thinker. I never fully completed anything. Yet in everything, I took the first step. My secret was simple: curiosity. For curiosity is the only true key to genius. And to you I leave this: be curious. Watch the wings of a bird. Study the expression on a face. Look at the sky and ask why, for the secrets of the universe reveal themselves only to those who wonder.